What's up, everybody out there in YouTube land? Wrath2501 here. Okay, guys, we got some more Warhammer for you. Okay, this looked interesting. This is from Major Kill, and this is 5 times the bad guy saved the day. Warhammer 40k. Okay, I like this kind of stuff and these kinds of things. So yeah, let's see what we got here. I would actually love to see that, like, say, like, one of, like, Khorne is supposed to be big on honor and shit like that. Be interesting, like, if he, you know, literally saved the planet from, like, the machinations of, like, Zeech or something like that, and he wound up just leaving the planet or something like that, you know? It'd be kind of interesting just to see, like, something like that just for once play the good guy, because, well, it kind of fits their MO. Anyway, I also like, because it sometimes shows that bad guys aren't all bad. You know, you are a bad guy, but this does not mean you're a bad guy. Anyway, let's see what we got here. All right, so let's go.
Today we'll go over 5 times the bad guys stepped up to the plate and saved the day. We will detail what they did, how it saved the day, and why they did it. Now let's get into it. The Dark Eldar are evil as shit. That isn't a debate in the slightest. In order to sustain their bodies and souls, they literally have to inflict pain and agony, hence why they're constantly raiding and raping their way through the galaxy. However, they are still Eldar, and on occasion will aid their less sadistic Half-Earth or Exodite cousins. After Iyanden had their fuck-off battle for survival against High Fleet Kraken, a battle that saw most of them dead, the remnants of Kraken attempted to travel to High Fleet Leviathan in order to be absorbed by it, hence pass on an extremely rich deposit of Eldar DNA. The Eldar foresaw that with this DNA, Leviathan could make an army of super Eldar Tyranid hybrids that would be a bit of a no-no. Hence Iyanden and Baal Tan teamed up to stop them by intercepting Kraken at a maiden world that Kraken was attacking. The Harlequins were able to convince Vecht, the Lord of the Dark Eldar, to send a massive fleet of Dark Eldar along with a super weapon that could finish off the Nids. It was called a Fireheart. However, there was a catch. Either due to misfortune, or more likely, the Dark Eldar being assholes, the Fireheart had to be manually activated by a Farseer. Hence the Farseer who did it was guaranteed to die and be taken by Slaanesh. With the combined Dark and Craftworld Eldar fleets, the Nid ships were destroyed as the Fireheart was detonated on the Maiden World, annihilating Kraken and preventing the DNA upload to Leviathan. Without the Dark Eldar forces or the Fireheart, it's unlikely the Craftworlders could have stopped Kraken. But why did the Dark Eldar do this? Well, an Eldar is still an Eldar.
Because they're not idiots.
Leviathan isn't
not complete idiots, though.
So it was a smart term-long move to prevent it. The Dark Eldar don't want to sound sentimental though, so they just claim they found the fact that Iyanden was a ghost ship full of millions of Wraithguard hilarious and wouldn't want to see it ruined. Either way, the day was saved. Flipping the coin, this next example is when the Nids were the unlikely heroes of the day. With the creation of the Great Rift and the expansion of Chaos, the Tyranid hive mind identified Chaos as a major threat, hence it adapted, creating High Fleet Kronos. A high fleet with more long-range weaponry and more powerful anti-warp power in order to act as a hard counter to demons and warp spaghetti. When Admiral Grosion engaged a massive Chaos fleet at the Wolf's Head Nebula, things weren't going great. The enemy had a Despoiler-class battleship and the Imperial fleet was outnumbered. They were probably all going to die. But then out of fucking nowhere, stone-cold High Fleet Kronos barges onto the battlefield. At first the Imperials are like, fuck me mate, really?
Yeah, exactly.
But when they see Kronos completely ignore them and beeline straight for the Chaos fleet, smashing into it and swarming the Despoiler ship, Admiral Grosin is like, alrighty then, and fires a final salvo at his enemies before getting the fuck out of there.
There you
Without
go.
that Tyranid intervention, the Imperials would have been doomed. The reason Kronos did this was a matter of priority. That Chaos fleet would have destroyed many worlds that the Nids wanted to eat, so it waited until it was distracted and then launched its attack at the best time possible. Its intentions were not noble in the slightest, but at the end of the day, the Imperials were saved.
It still worked.
The Necrons have quickly become a bunch of likable, interesting, grumpy old men, they are definitely not the good guys. Many Necron dynasties actively genocide everyone else. The Silent King is trying to cut off the warp from real space, dooming everyone with a soul, and Trazyn the Infinite has kidnapped thousands of people for his own amusement. They are not good guys. However, that doesn't mean they can't save the day. There was an Imperial world that held an ancient, extremely valuable Necron tomb deep within it, that Trazyn and Orokin had been studying for a long time. They didn't care the Imperials were on the world, as it didn't mess with the tomb or anything. However, an orc fleet was heading to the world, which was definitely a problem. The destructiveness of the orcs wasn't good for the special tomb's longevity. Hence, while Orokin engaged the orc fleet in orbit, Trazyn led his warriors on the surface. During the battle, Trazyn ignored the human defenders and focused on fighting the orcs, all in plain view of the Imperials. Through his effort, the world was saved, and the Imperials actually celebrated it. The citizens created a statue of Trazyn that they placed in their main plaza, whilst they depicted the battle in stained glass windows. Now this might sound super fucking heretical, however the Imperials had believed that the Necrons were a Space Marine chapter called the Silver Skulls, that happened to be taller and skinnier than other Space Marines. Trazyn found this hilarious and quite endearing. When he found out that the Inquisition was going to remove his statue, he stole it for himself, whilst Orokin destroyed the stained glass windows out of spite. Unfortunately, due to pulling a prank on Orokin by releasing a Genestealer Patriarch on the world without knowing what it actually was, the world would then get overrun by Genestealers and then Exterminatist. So, yeah, he did end up fucking it up through a prank gone wrong, but that doesn't take away from the fact that he was once responsible for saving it. When you save the day doesn't have to be a world or a culture. Sometimes it can be as simple as getting justice for a poor innocent girl. Sevatar of the Night Lords is an awesome character and a certified badass, but he's also still an evil piece of shit, reveling in the suffering of his enemies and actively serving the forces of hell. But that doesn't mean he's gonna let bad shit just slide. Professionals have standards.
There you go.
When he was captured by the Dark Angels during an ill-fated boarding attempt on their flagship, his latent psychic abilities allowed him to communicate with a young astropath on board. They became friends, and she told him how a senior astropath beat her so badly that she was now paralyzed and more or less lived full-time in a life support pod. She saw the honorable side to Sevatar and wanted to help him escape. Using her power, she helped him get out of his cell, but instead of fleeing to an escape craft, he beelined into the astropathic choir, only stopping to see his young friend in person briefly before then proceeding to the senior astropath. He slowly, ruthlessly choked the man to death with the very weapon he used to paralyze the young girl. As Dark Angel surrounded Sevatar, he said, "I am judgment, I am punishment, and I surrender," allowing himself to be taken back to his cage without resistance. Sure, he wasn't able to stop her from being hurt in the first place, but justice was served, and the sadistic old astropath could never hurt her or anyone else ever again. Why did he do this rather than take an easy escape?
Honorable.
Well, despite being evil, Sevatar wasn't this mustache-twirling villain. An innocent had suffered an injustice, and as twisted as they were, the Night Lords were pretty big on justice. So much so that Sevatar chose it over his own freedom and escape. Every time I read about Sevatar, I get both happy and sad. Happy that he exists, but sad to see what the Night Lords could have been instead of what they have become. The final example of bad guy saving the day is a bit of a controversial one, but the lore is so fucking good that I have to mention it. Orcs are not good people. They bring death and destruction wherever they go, and often revel in torturing and killing innocents.
Well, I don't know. I still consider them, they're in my headcanon, that is the Diperium. A guy called Norman has created them. They're basically orcs that have modeled themselves. They're like an orc clan that has a small orc clan that has modeled itself after the Imperium of Man, and they actually work on protecting humans. The Emperor, they're led by the Emperor. The Emperor protects, and they've got the space morons. It's awesome. I love the lore behind it, and I think it would be so perfect. It sounds like it comes across as something so the orcs would do, but these orcs are like basically as good guy as orcs get because they actually look out for humans. They even have a school. What was it called? Smart Boy Thinky Pants' Big Brain School for Small Brain Humies. I love it.
However, they are still a lot better than Tyranids.
Yes.
When the Imperial Army and Orc Army were engaged in a long and semi-boring war over a world, things got
semi-boring
when the Tyranids invaded. Seeing that they would both get destroyed, the Orcs and Imperials decided to team up, and the results were spectacular. The Imperial discipline of the Guardsmen combined with the Orcs' fanatical shock and awe tactics were too much for the Tyranids to adapt to. Time and time again, the heretical alliance smashed Tyranid forces. Orcs would hold the line while Imperial citizens were evacuated. Imperials would protect Orc flanks and charges. Towards the end of the campaign, the Orc war boss and the Imperial general, who originally were mortal enemies, became friends. As the soldiers engaged in friendly competitions to one-up each other against the Nids. With such good synergy and teamwork, the Tyranids were crushed. Thus the Orcs, the bad guys, saved the day. But then they kinda fucking didn't. The ending of this tale is quite sad. As the last of the Tyranids were beaten, the Orc war boss turned on the Imperial commander and captured him. The war boss acted quite sheepish about it, like he was sorry. The Orc said, "Surely you also plan on betraying us," and the Imperial commander lied and said that he was going to. The Orc war boss then lectures the commander about teaming up with aliens and trusting them before getting the commander's subordinate to kill him with his own sword. The Orcs then fall upon the Imperial soldiers and massacre them. It's actually quite sad. The Imperials were going to peacefully part way with the Orcs in the most wholesome of wholesome endings, but instead, the Orcs sheepishly butchered them. The fact that the Imperial commander lied about him also planning on betraying the Orcs to save face got me right in the feels, so I guess the day wasn't saved. Maybe a little bit, since I believe that many Imperial citizens were evacuated with the help of the Orcs, but it still almost shows an amazing example of the bad guys saving the day. I mean, at the end of the day, they are bad guys, so you can't really expect them to not have a catch. The thing I like about all the above examples is that it isn't just bad guys becoming good and doing a good thing. It's bad guys chasing their own agenda, which happened to be a good thing in the above examples. The only times the bad guys deliberately save the day, they end up being dicks about it. Either by the Dark Elder forcing Elder Farseers to blow themselves up, or the Orcs betraying their Imperial allies.
I like that. I also like this kind of thing when you see it. Like, you know, you are, like, once again, you are a bad guy, but this does not mean you're a bad guy. I mean, the thing is, though, stories like that, there are a couple of them like that, where the Orcs and humans have had to team up. And it actually shows that when the Orcs and humans team up, they are like a damn unstoppable force. It shows right there. Even the insanity adaptations of the Tyranid, even if they're insane levels, it's no match when the Orcs and the humans team up, when they work together. If all the Orcs got together and all the humans got together, and they actually teamed up, I mean, they could overrun the galaxy. Nothing would stop them. Not the Tyranids, not the Necrons, not the Eldar, not the Dark Eldar. Nothing could stop them. They would dominate the galaxy. Not even chaos. None of it would stop them. I mean, that would literally be the saving grace for the entire galaxy. That is literally the only hope that the galaxy has against the Tyranid Hive Fleet, and that is if the Orcs and humans work together. If they do, then they can win. They could even defeat the Hive Fleets. Just something to think about. Anyway, what do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comments. Like this video and subscribe, guys. Definitely click on the link to the original. Like and subscribe over at Major Kill's channel. I love this stuff. This is cool. I will see you guys next time. Tune in every day for new content. Bye-bye.